is a grown person never taking accountability. Someone who does not know how to take accountability will always play the victim. You gotta kick those people to the curb. Energy vampires.
I said this once, I'll say it again. People who lack self-awareness, people who lack accountability are the worst people in the world. They are the main ones that will be offended till the cows come home, but they will offend you and offend everybody else all day. And the sad part and the wild part that blows me is a lot of them are old. I'm 28. I'm damn near old. You are too old to be acting like this. And this is your problem. Nobody has ever held you accountable, hence why you lack the accountability of your lack of self-awareness.
But at what point do you step up and say, damn, this situation keep happening? It showed up in work. It showed up in my friendships. It showed up in my relationships. At what point do you hold yourself accountable and say, maybe there is a few things I need to work on within myself?
Whenever you step out of the victim mentality, that's when you can hold yourself accountable.
And I think because of social media, we just be deep diving in the victim mentality, finding the memes that fit our situation, posting, and making it make sense, knowing you on some...
Because what people do, and that's what we talked about the last time, what people do, especially when it comes to social media, is that they look for somebody to sympathize for their pain so they can validate their pain.
Absolutely.
And so it's really hard for you to point the finger at yourself, because if you can point at everybody else, and you can get everybody else to point the finger as well, and now you feel like you have a team of validation behind you rather than just calling yourself out.
A lot of people don't want to admit this, but let's be real. You are responsible for your own misery. For a lot of us, accountability is such a tough thing to accept. But we don't want to admit that we are the ones that are responsible for the things we allow, the things we accept, the things we continue to grow in our lives. And that's why we look for everything as an excuse. We try to make the claim that this is how I was treated, that this is what was done to me, that you look at your past and you make that the center point of everything you've ever done, because it's so hard to be honest with yourself, to say that you have to be accountable. It's so hard to admit that you have to do something. Because let's be real, no one wants to do anything. You would rather just let things happen and unfold and not be responsible. But when you have to be responsible, that's when things get hard. When you have to be accountable, then you are the reason why things don't change. You are the reason why you continue the rut you're in. You are the reason why life hasn't been different. At some point, you have to take accountability for you and stop making an excuse as to why you aren't where you want to be.
Y'all need to learn the difference between a girl's girl and an enabler.
This is good. This is good. So in this video, she goes on to say, girls will keep you accountable and they'll call you out. Enablers will not, and they'll let you continue to do harmful things. I want to talk about the word accountability because a lot of us can't define it, right? And I want to make it plain what that is and why it might feel complicated, especially in the context of friendship. Accountability is when you gently remind somebody of the commitment that they made. So you're holding them to the standard they set, that they agree to. If you have a friend who said, I am not messing with that man anymore. I'm done. And I hate the way I feel about myself when I'm with them. And then 3 weeks later, she's like, I mean, we talked since then, and maybe it's not that bad. I'm not judging that woman. A gentle nudge is an example of accountability, but there's a difference between accountability and shame. So for example, if I say to her like, okay, so you're just going to let him back in your life. So you're just going to keep flip-flopping and like let him continue to use you. I hear you, but the way we deliver that is shaming. Shaming is when you're trying to intentionally make somebody feel bad. But accountability means I'm going to remind you because I'm trying to call you up to the standard you set for yourself. I don't want you to feel bad. If my friend set a goal for herself, why would I not help her achieve it? So if you tell me my goal is to avoid that situation because I don't like how it makes me feel, then psychologically, my brain is going to make me acknowledge that if I notice a discrepancy. One reason it's hard for people to be accountable, myself included, about certain things, it's uncomfortable. When a friend actually holds me accountable, it's uncomfortable. You know why? Because for a lot of us, there's embarrassment. If you set a goal in front of a friend, she's a witness to an objective that you set for yourself. And then you're not consistent with that. And she makes note of it. It feels like you failed. And it's uncomfortable sometimes to be reminded that you failed. The right friends are willing to navigate that discomfort in a gentle way because they want to see you win. So be careful about saying, I'm going to set goals with friends and I want my friends to hold me up. But when they do, receiving it as judgment, being turned off, withdrawing, silencing her. Some of us want companionship and friendship, and we don't want anybody to tell us what's what. Ask yourself, do I want friends or do I want hangout buddies? Because for friends, it comes with the ability or the task of sometimes holding you up to the standard that you set for yourself.
I think most people are weak. I think that we live in a generation where character is weak, morale is weak, and ethics are weak. And I think,
agree.
Yeah, I think that people are willing to waver and bend and break the rules according to who's around or clout or money or whatever it could possibly be. And to me, I look at that and it's weak. And then you partner that with people don't know how to have effective, hard conversations anymore. So now people are quitting instead of having the hard conversations. And it's like, okay, well, what was the point?
Yeah.
What was the point of all of this? And I really have been sitting with myself. You know, I believe in therapy and all of the things. And I'm like, damn, Sarah, number one, do you expect something that may not be here anymore?
Today's video is all about accountability. I have noticed something, that there is an epidemic of a lack of accountability, especially with some videos that I've been doing. I noticed that there's so much resistance to just doing better, holding ourselves accountable. And with this generation specifically, we have a victim state of mind where we want to blame everyone for everything. I have compiled a handy dandy list of the 5 main areas that we lack accountability in. And I want to know which ones you agree with the most, or you think, hey, you know what, Karine? I have a rebuttal for that, but we're going to get into it, okay? But first, hey friend, welcome to my channel, KarineAlourde Mental Gems. This channel is dedicated to leveling up in all areas of your life. So let us learn together, read together, but most importantly, grow together. Now, without further ado, let's get into this video. I do want to give a disclaimer now. I had this written down because I was going in, and then I had a moment of reflection where, you know, I thought to myself that this generation for sure are more likely to call out racism and sexism and to shun companies that conflict with their values. They also believe in the power of individuals to create change and are more persistent and vocal than other generations. I mean, Diddy is finally locked up and he's been a menace since the 90s. And we have been looking at movies differently, and things that used to seem acceptable is now under the microscope. We hold our governments accountable for sure, definitely more than we did in the past. But with all of this, holding other people accountable, this generation also seems to avoid holding themselves accountable on the individualistic basis. These kids are horrible. Yes, I wrote this down. I'm laughing because it's like going through online. Every time I'm hearing these stories, I'm seeing what's going on. I'm like, what happened to kids fearing their parents, at least behave, having respect for teachers, etc.? I know I sound old and I'm not that old, I promise you guys. But today's kids make me so glad that I was born in another generation, because it's insane the lack of respect that is so glamorized online. Okay, but we're going to talk about today's adults too, because today's adults are not yesterday's adults. These are not the same adults that I grew up, the same grandmas that I grew up with. You know, today's adults are built differently. The grandmas now look like their grandchildren. They dress like their grandchildren. They're online. Like, today's grandmas are not yesterday's grandmas. And I'm for youth and all that, but I would have hated to see my grandma and a BBL bending over asking people to subscribe to her OnlyFans. I would have hated that for me. And that's not judgment, but it's like the fact that you even have to have fear of calling something like that out or talking about it is where I'm talking about this generation lacks accountability. People are walking on literal eggshells. You cannot call out anything or talk about the degeneracy in society without people feeling like you're judging or you're being anti this or phobic or whatever. You cannot speak against anything that's happening in society. And to say something like what I just said could be deemed so controversial, like 2-3 years from now, that somebody pull up this exact video to try to cancel me. That's what would happen because you called out that grandmas are on lines promoting their fans only, you know, like, but hey, that could be society 5 years down the line if we're not careful. That I saw Chloe Bailey getting dragged because she don't party. They were calling her boring because she don't party.
Talking about how boring of an individual I am. And I was like, I'm boring? It's like you can't ever really... Boring's good, right? I stay to myself. The reason I stay to myself is because this industry is crazy. And if I was so mixy, I would have like self-identity issues. Like you have to stay to yourself. You have to keep your circle small to save yourself. Necessarily. Like this industry is nuts. Nobody knows how crazy this industry is. Like if you all knew what I have been through and knew the stories, you would be surprised that I'm still even doing this. So I have to be boring for my mental health. And not that I have to please everybody or stuff like that, but...
So you can't really say your views on much in this society. As much as they're holding politicians accountable, we're looking at older movies and we're judging from a different point of view. We also have increased censorship and have made it okay for people to not be individuals or speak on their own beliefs. There's a lack of respect for the beliefs of others, and there's a censorship whenever you want to talk about something. You have to like be mindful of the mob. And I do understand that a lot of it is trolls, a lot of it is not real. It's people and bots that do come, like politicians even have bots to argue with people in the comments or, you know, make you feel like you're canceled. A lot of people don't really care. Because people in real life don't even care. Even Black people. A lot of Black people don't care for a lot of the division that's going on, like the race wars and all these things. And I really don't care. They're just working, trying to get by, live their life, you know, traveling and stuff. They're not making it their life to be, you know, in the streets and stuff like that. But if you let social media tell you, every one of us is obsessed with this thought. Even the recent things with Haiti going on with the whole weed pets thing. A lot of Haitians was like, we heard it, was, ah, man, that sucks. And then we moved on. We did what we could do to help our people in Ohio on our end. And then we left it at that. So a lot of social media is bots, but it pushes this out to where they censor you and you really feel like there's a lot you just cannot talk about. You walk on eggshells. So I wrote down that these kids are horrible. We see what's happening to teachers across the United States. They are losing eyes, their lives, and can't discipline these kids. You talk to parents and parents don't hold themselves accountable, but instead blame the school systems and think their kids are perfect. We see how there seems to be a gender war online with men not holding themselves or their counterparts accountable and women promoting the most morally corrupt behavior that has ever existed through the ages. I mean, people like Sexy Red is who's on top right now. And that says a lot. Everyone is a victim. Everyone blames the patriarchy and the system. No one wants to work anymore. Everyone needs to be coddled. Okay, before I get into the list of the 5 things, and I want y'all to stick around. Now, let me be clear. Specifically with the gender war, that just bothers me so much because it's like on both ends. You have men not holding themselves accountable. And they want to drag single mothers. They want to drag women that are, you know, giving their bodies up to many people, but they're not holding themselves accountable for sleeping with so many women. They're not holding themselves accountable for creating the single homes. The women also have this toxic, but that's a whole another video for another day because I want to do that video in a more scientific, educational, scholarly point of view because I don't want to argue. I just want to give y'all straight facts, psychological and all of that with that. But this whole thing of women is glamorizing basically being a kept woman that's the trophy wife, gold diggerish, get the bag type of vibe by any means necessary. Yeah, we're seeing men as just money, and men are seeing women as just bodies, vice versa. It's none on the opposite sides are holding each other accountable to be like, if we all just focus on Christ and God, no one would be like this. Men that are Christ-centered, that knows that they have to answer to God, which is one of the reasons why I cannot be with someone that's outside of the faith. Because who is holding you? Who do you have to answer to? You have to answer to God. You have to answer to God. Men that are really serious about answering to God, I'm not talking about these faux Christians or these fake pastors, they will not see you as a body. They're not trying to just take your virtue and then pump and dump, leave you a single mother. They still believe in having a family unit, a home, etc. They're being held accountable by Christ himself, right? Vice versa with the women who are like that. They're not looking to you for your money as a bag and, you know, having the city girl type of antics. We see where it's landed people. People are now more talking about their experiences on how that lifestyle really is. And I feel like anytime you call it out, they're telling you you're shaming or you're not positive, body positivity, all these terms that is thrown out there. And I must say, bring back shame. Bring back shame and accountability. We need shame. The way I'm looking online, comment below if you agree. We need shame and accountability. Shame used to do us wonders. Because, my goodness, the lack of shame and accountability in society is mind-blowing. We are definitely living in the last age where people just really don't care. There's no shame. People don't even have dignities. I don't know how people will go on TikTok and use it as a therapy session and tell all your business with no shame to a whole bunch of strangers in hopes of blowing up from it. Because then when it blows up, they're like, oh, but why did you put it online? There's a chance it could blow up. There's just no shame. And I am shocked. And I am a little discouraged with that. That is just getting worse to the point where you're like, if I have kids, by the time my kid is like 10 years old or 15, what kind of world will I be putting my kids in? Even if you're doing your job at home, what kind of society will I be bringing my child into? But long rant aside, let's go to the first one. First one is things that I realize that the generation lacks accountability for is an indifference to crime. TikTok and social media got y'all thinking crimes are okay and got y'all recording yourselves and uploading the crimes online. There is a growing indifference to minor crimes such as theft and looting. This can lead to a perception that criminal behavior is acceptable, which can undermine police forces and public trust in the legal system. I'm not going to further incriminate people by posting some of the stuff I've seen, but y'all can comment them below. But I've seen people steal from Walmart. They'll post videos on how they're stealing at the checkout line or brag about, oh, I don't put this in, I don't check this, I just throw it in a cart, put it in a bag, teaching people how to do it, posting themselves online or commenting the stuff they do to where stealing, we normalize it. Or people are committing their scams, they're talking about it. And y'all know with like drill rap culture, when people are beefing, they'll take out the ops and then they'll make a song about it, post it online, go into the ops cemetery. I done see some crazy stuff. And it's like they're talking about their crimes, but you have stuff like hip hop where they brag about it, right? And it used to be a time where there was shame. That's why I say bring back shame, where if you slept with someone, you're doing you. Nobody has to know your business. Women had shame. She could have been a local street worker. Everybody know they could get her, but she wasn't boldly bragging about what she was doing, how many people she was with. Vice versa with the guys. Men weren't just walking around. Yep, in the olden days, men weren't just walking around bragging about how many women they slept with, their exploits, how good their pee is. Women wasn't singing or rapping about their revenge and their lovemaking, to vulgarity, to like today's songs are so crazy that they're so descriptive and nasty. And then it's young kids that are talking about it. They're talking about the holes and inside the holes, the colors and this. It's crazy to me. And I miss today that these things were not glamorized or put front street in social media. They were not acceptable and people actually did something about it. But now we celebrate And I'm about to say something so crazy. Like, I know some people are gonna come for me in the comments and don't agree, but allow me to have my opinion, please. But you see how people like celebrate people like Lil Kim? Oh, she's a pioneer. Every time they want to give her props for these new rappers that's rapping about this. Y'all better thank Lil Kim because she made it possible so you could rap about your intimate life and this and that and the vulgarity and stuff. She made it possible. Why is that something we're celebrating in society, but we're labeling it as body positivity, sex positivity, whatever? Why is that something we should celebrate her for or thank her for? I don't thank her for that. I'm like, man, I wish she never did that. And some of you guys probably think, but the brain for women don't fully develop until like 25. And even then I say by 30, because when I was 25, I was not developed. Had the appearance, the facade of maturity, but I wasn't yet mature. But you gotta get old and you are going to realize the state of your life. That's what's happening to a lot of girls now. Y'all see their stories on TikTok. Y'all see them coming out on YouTube speaking about their experiences. I think it's Mia Khalifa. She used to do films, adult films. And she's come out recently saying she regret all of it and her mind wasn't developed. She hated that she went through this. She's older now. She's trying to find a new leaf. And then we saw, like Muslim now, Brittany Renner. I think she's starting to come out.
This makes me so sad and so angry at It's so gross because it literally weaseled its way into these feminist spaces and convinced women that it is somehow empowering for them to sell their body online with false promises they're gonna make hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that's not the reality of it. It's basically a sex work pyramid scheme. In what other business, when the market is so flooded, would you continue to try to recruit young women? And don't get me wrong, I have no problem with work, but it is not supposed to be this common, especially not amongst young women. And I hate to say this, but this is the opposite of feminism. This is quite literally the objectification of women. You can have us at a price. What? And I don't know why I feel like I'm so early on this train, but I don't see a lot of people talking about it. Which is again why I'm so proud of this girl for posting about it.
I did. I live in my truth. And I am ashamed at the behavior I've done because I am now 28 years old. I'm actually 28 years young on this earth. And I can say that I'm ashamed because of a lot of different reasons. I can sit here and I can talk to women and explain to younger girls coming up and things. I thought it was cool. I thought this is what I wanted to do. I thought this is how I wanted to live. But all these females that you guys look up to in the industry, that the media pushes you, they're all miserable. They have no peace. They cry every night. They are not happy with themselves. They hate themselves. So much so, they get surgeries and they try to fit themselves to be in something they're not. And they're never going to fulfill it because they're not fulfilled on the inside.
Mentally, I was just burning out. And I started realizing, like, in order to keep this money coming, I have to keep exposing my body over and over and over again. I'm running to the stores to get lingerie, to get baby suits, to get this, to get that. Like, I'm doing it so much. I never had clothes on Instagram. It was to the point where I was getting so tired that I would only just make sure I had enough just to pay the bills. Like, I was just so drained from what I was doing. In the beginning, it was cool. First couple of months or the first year, I would say, you just like whatever, until it starts getting old. And mind you, I tell you, I ain't getting naked on there. I'm not doing nothing crazy. So it's like, the thing is, it's only so much of what you can do. It started just hitting a point where I was just like, I don't want to do this no more. I was trying to do music, dating out here also, or just whatever the case may be, just meeting people, normal people, trying to make friends or whatever the case may be. And I knew 100% what I was doing wasn't the right thing, but it reflected in so much of the type of people I was attracting, or it reflected so much in me trying to build relationships with people out here, or me trying to network out here. Nobody took me serious. Every man I was coming around, whether if it was business, dating, it don't even matter, just male friends, it don't even matter. Everybody's sexualizing you, because it's the way I'm representing myself. So I can't be mad of what it is that I'm doing or how people judging me or why nobody's taking me serious. And you would really have to know me to know that, yo, I'm taking care of shit back home, I'm taking care of this. Like, it's just, but don't nobody all of that. Nobody give really getting to know you and what you really dealing with, nobody cares. They just want to judge you from the outside. You see a body and people are just trying to do what they sexualize you, whatever they're trying to do. And I was never that type of woman. But unfortunately, how you represent yourself still matters. And it used to up like, yo, I don't want to do this anymore. But I knew how I'm gonna pay the rent.
All I was completely 100% sure of was I don't want to do, never wanted to do, never gonna go back to that. And standing firm on my ground in my morals, in my boundaries, in just everything, that was like the tiniest glimmer of confidence starting to grow. Standing firm in my boundaries, even if I didn't know that was a boundary.
Or you, frankly, as a money machine.
Absolutely.
Those images you cannot expunge. No. You have no right, even though it is deeply personal to you, you have no right to remove them from anybody's view around the world. You sit here so poised, and obviously a lot of time has passed and you've moved on, but do you think there is some sort of post-traumatic stress that is in you from this experience?
Yes, I think it kicks in mostly when I go out in public. The stares I get, I feel like people can see through my clothes, and it brings me deep shame. I lost all right to my privacy, which I did because I'm one Google search away.
Yeah. I mean, this story is your story, but frankly, it's also the story of other actors and actresses.
I honestly started seeing that recently after the interview came out, and people started reaching out, and he gets stuff like that. He filters them and sends them to me. And reading the words of some of these girls who have been trafficked and forced into, and all of these stories of girls whose lives have been ruined by it, and by men who have taken advantage of them, and by contracts that they didn't even understand the jargon of. Maybe it was good that I started talking and that I posted this interview and that I'm speaking out now, because other people feel the same way.
Created a generation of narcissistic women. Rise of social media. Every poor choice is glamorized and has taught women that they are not to blame for any poor choices. So if you want to be it's great. If you want to post in bikini pictures online, it's fine. Every internal reflection is seen as gaslighting yourself. They are trained to not reflect on themselves because we've been told we've been oppressed for so many years. We don't take any accountability. And unfortunately, we've got an online market that caters to that wounded woman.
A lot of these girls are starting to come out as they get older. You're young now, you don't understand, you think this is the life and you're fighting people, but these people are getting older and they're realizing this is not the way. And I commend them for speaking to younger people, where I think Mia Khalifa was saying there's a certain age women should not be allowed to get into this industry. But the industry 18 and up, that's where you can come into it, because they like younger girls. That's what the industry likes. Because older women typically won't go down that route unless they feel completely defeated. And I say all this to say is that we have glamorized crime. We have glamorized the city girl aspect of selling your body, which is illegal. That Diddy was arrested, and you have men coming up defending Diddy in the industry, talking about what was wrong with what he did. I don't get it. Boosie, Faison, all of them, what he did wrong. Not realizing that transporting women for intimacy is illegal. But the city girl culture, the culture that we're in, have made you guys think it's not illegal. These songs getting flued out. The city girls glamorize S trafficking. They glamorize that because that's what getting flued out is. You're getting flued out for intimacy, not for love. That's what they were saying about. That's what men mean when they fly you out and stuff. And you have normalized a crime, and there's no shame. Women are bragging about, getting flued out. You just started talking to the guy and you already want a quick vacation, talking about, oh, let's skip the talking stage. Let's go on a trip just so you can post on Instagram, just so you see how degenerate and how far we have fallen. How far we have fallen. Number 2 is an indifference to how we present ourselves to society. We go looking crazy everywhere. There was a video on Twitter. I'm going to try to find it. I hope I find it, but I probably won't.
What stereotypes they know about Americans?
Тупые, устроили геноцид против коренного населения. Всегда пьют газировку и едят бургеры.
Ну, Техас, ковбои скачут там на лошадях, кто на быках такие.
Депрессивные дети.
Стереотип, что они ходят в пижамах прямо на улице, не чешутся, не расчесываются.
Да, что они, не любят ухаживать за собой.
Ну, что они мнят себя там еще, типа, как будто бы они такие, типа, короли мира. Потому что женщины за собой там не ухаживают, могут там выйти в чем попало в магазин.
Малообразованный, такой узко мыслишь, ну, скажем так.
Не следят за своим здоровьем.
Where they were saying the stereotypes that Europeans believe about Americans specifically, and this one is for America, is that people leave their house looking any kind of way, no effort. People are even home looking any kind of way. I grew up where when you woke up in the morning, you had to change out of your pajamas into your day clothes, right? Even if you were home at summer break, you're not going to school, you can't stay in your pajamas all day. You have to go wash your face, brush your teeth, clean up, especially if you're a girl. Then put on your day clothes. And at night, you get out your day clothes. You get into your night clothes, your pajama clothes, right? There's a routine. We're taught to do that. If we're going to the doctor's office, we're dressed up. We're going to the airport, we were dressed up. If we're going to even file our taxes, when I first came here to America, my dad would be going to file his taxes and we're with him and we're all dressed up. Like, everywhere we went, we were dressed up. That's how it is in the Caribbean. We put perfume, even church. I'll go to churches now and I understand the concept of come as you are, but people will put more effort when they're going to the club than when they're going to church. Like, I see people go looking crazy and you're going to the presence of God and it's not that you don't have. Like, you come as you are if you really don't have, but y'all have. Y'all just not even trying. You rather take that money and go buy crab legs and not have not one decent outfit. You just wearing your ripped jeans, that shirt that's dirty, like just threw on whatever. Flip-flops, coming into church. When you going to the club, bust down this, that, It's crazy. Y'all put more effort when you go to a football game. When you're going to just walk the street, like even if I'm going to, put gas or something mundane, I have to do something like quickly, like something. I'm not saying do a full face of makeup or wear clothes, but we're looking crazy by choice. And Europeans were saying that Americans don't care how they look. The women don't care how they look. They go everywhere looking crazy. No effort. And then if you tell people in the whole bonnet thing, I agree with Monique. Calling out her own people. Why she didn't need to talk to other women? Because people was bringing other races to it. Why she need to bring other races to it? She talking to her people. Why should she care what other women are doing? She's trying to talk to her people. You know what I mean? Don't wear bonnets out in the street. Have respect for yourself and stuff like that. And that was a whole discussion on respectability politics and all this, whatever. And it's like, bring back shame. Forget respectability politics. Like all these terms, patriarchy, this, that. And I think a lot of them too does come from the essay type social commentary channels. They kind of set the stage on what's cancelable and they make it like a thing they've taken shame out of society and society is on a decline. I'm telling you that. Society is on a decline. We need to seek God. We need to seek God because why is it bad advice to tell someone just put a little effort in yourself? If you're not going through depression and stuff, and I have a whole psychology playlist because I know depression can do that to you too, where you just don't put effort. I understand. I've been there, done that. I've been there. But what is wrong with telling someone who's healthy-minded, who's not going through depression, hey, don't just leave your house like that. There's a way you talk in society. You don't got to be super loud everywhere you go, disturbing the peace of everyone. You can be kind and say, excuse me, when you don't got to bump into people. You can hold doors for people. You can talk kindly to people at the register. Y'all talk to employees, the average, working class, any kind of way. Like I go to McDonald's and record people talking and disrespect them in any kind of way. Like that did not used to be a thing. When McDonald's, all these places was first open, there was respect, there was decorum. There's a lack of decorum in society. 3,
lack of accountability for how we behave in public. We behave any kind of way. We talk any kind of way. We don't respect people. People just be doing crazy things. Like I seen an old video around Christmas time. This hip hop group, Hip Hop Carols, went to Sephora and was dropping F-bombs and all those singing Christmas carols with F-bombs and stuff in front of children and stuff. Could care less. Oh my goodness. It was so cringe, and it was like just for content. I'm just shocked at what we have accepted, right? Number 4, supporting problematic people. Y'all make anyone famous. You cancel people only to support them again shortly after, even when they showed no remorse. Some say that Gen Z is setting a precedent by continuing to support people who have shown no remorse for their actions. This can be seen in the case of social media celebrities and politicians who have been caught in scandals, but they're still able to continue working. Y'all are outraged every week about somebody, and then y'all forget the next week. Y'all don't stay on nobody's neck except Diddy recently. Like, y'all stayed on his neck. And I must say Weinstein too. Y'all stayed on his neck. He's still in jail today. But it's like we forget a lot. And we make somebody could be famous for the dumbest things. Like Ice Spice became famous from TikTok. And I'm not hating, but like, what do these people contribute to society? What positive message? How are they even helping your mental health or this and that? And okay, they're entertaining you with what? Bending over and touching their cootie cat? That's the form of entertainment you like? That's what you want your children in the future to emulate or to watch? A lot of these commentary people that like make people feel guilty for having these types of opinions or, calling back for morality. Once they have kids, they won't even allow their kids to be witnessing half this stuff. They will blow a gasket. And they're still young too. They're young because ain't nobody seasoned and old enough is thinking like that. They're probably still in their early 20s, okay? 5 is lack of accountability for the decline in morality. We justify the most debasing songs and brain rot films and content. Then we complain about the decline of society, but we play a role. Y'all support like the red pill stuff when it was getting crazy. People justify supporting certain songs. Oh, it's just fun. Live a little. I like this person. They're just being themselves. One of the things I see, I hate to keep bringing her up, but she's, I don't know. It hurts my heart to see this woman anytime I see her. Sexy Red. And one of the arguments I see people justify for liking her is, oh, I love how authentic she is. She's like the hood girl. She, is just being her authentic self. Bruh, I came from the hood too. I was in them streets, the trenches too. Why I gotta look like it in my old age? Why I gotta behave crazy or act like this? Don't think because I'm all prim and polished, like, okay? I know what the streets look like. And why is that something to glamorize? It ain't something to glamorize. I'm all for being yourself, but why does yourself have to be vulgar to this degree? Knowing that kids are watching or influencing a large population of people. People go to her concerts. They buy her songs. Her tours are still selling out. And nobody's really speaking against it. There are some people that are. I'll give them props. Some major platforms too that talk about this. But it's like the main consensus is entertainment is just, it's giving me a headache. I have to wrap this up now because I'm literally getting a headache. And I know these comments are going to be in shambles. Please help me fight in the comments for my life. But I love you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in. Comment below what other videos you guys would like to see. And I will see you in the next one. Mwah.